Most people don't lose respect because of one dramatic moment. It disappears slowly, through small interactions they barely notice. One day you wake up and realize something has changed. People answer your messages only when it suits them. They cancel plans without hesitation. They show up when they need something from you, and disappear when you need them. Deep inside, you feel it. You're not someone they admire quietly. You're someone they quietly take advantage of. This is the hidden truth of today's world. Everyone praises kindness, emotional awareness, and positivity. But beneath all those pretty words lies a silent power struggle. The loud ones show off, the fake confident ones pose for attention, and the soft-hearted ones end up drained. Meanwhile, the truly powerful don't use noise to prove themselves. They move differently. Their no has weight. Their time feels expensive. Their silence makes others uneasy. Machiavelli understood this long before social media, self-love quotes, and the be nice no matter what culture. He knew something most people still ignore: people respect those who can walk away. People respect those who have options. People respect those who are not desperate for approval. The moment others sense that you need them more than they need you, your position weakens. You start explaining yourself, defending yourself, chasing, adjusting, and losing ground each time. This guide isn't about being cruel or tyrannical. It's about becoming the kind of person others think twice before disrespecting. Someone they don't joke about behind your back. Someone they don't want to lose access to. Here, you'll learn 9 ruthless psychological tactics that make people respect you quietly. Not by yelling, not by pretending, not by trying to impress. These strategies come from Machiavelli's cold understanding of human nature, how distance creates power, how silence shapes perception, and how presence becomes influence. Follow them correctly, and people may not always like you, but they will feel you. They will sense your limits without you ever having to announce them. And when limits exist, respect follows. If you're ready to shift your identity, start by writing this in comments. I am done being taken lightly. Rule 1. Control your availability like someone with authority, not like someone begging for space. Respect begins to fade the moment people feel they can access you whenever they want, pull you into their plans, or rely on you to adjust yourself for their convenience. When you are always ready, always flexible, always sacrificing your schedule for others, you stop being viewed as an individual with priorities. You become something background, useful, convenient, replaceable. People of power are not available on demand. People without power are. Your goal is simple: stop living like the assistant in your own life. Machiavelli understood that power isn't just in your words, it lives in how difficult it is to claim your time and energy. When others feel you will always accommodate them, they learn a quiet but dangerous lesson: you need them more than they need you. Once that thought settles in their mind, respect begins to shrink. They may still be polite. They may still smile. But deep inside, they don't fear losing access to you. And where there is no fear of loss, respect struggles to exist. Controlling your availability doesn't mean being rude. It means being intentional. You don't rush just because someone calls your name. You don't accept every invite just because it's offered. You don't redesign your entire schedule to fix someone else's discomfort. Someone with authority moves according to their own plan, and others adjust to it. When you choose where your time goes, your presence becomes heavier. People notice that you don't show up everywhere. They notice your attention is selective. They notice you are not easily pulled or pressured. This creates a quiet tension. Before reaching out, they pause and ask themselves, "Is this important enough?" That hesitation is the birthplace of respect. Machiavelli would say that people hesitate to offend those who are not easily reached. When you stop being instantly available, people speak more carefully, behave more intentionally, and think twice before wasting your energy. They understand that if they treat you carelessly, you can withdraw without argument or announcement, and that possibility alone changes how they behave around you. You don't need emotional speeches about boundaries. You don't need to over-explain. You simply slow your responses, commit less frequently, and choose with more awareness. People learn from patterns, not from warnings. Over time, they realize you are not a tool waiting to be picked up. You are a presence they must approach respectfully. Repeat this affirmation in the comments. I decide where my time goes. Rule 2. Use silence as a strategic weapon, not a weakness. Most people are terrified of silence. The moment a conversation slows, they rush to fill the space with explanations, jokes, unnecessary details, or nervous chatter. They believe talking more makes them appear confident, friendly, or in control. In reality, the opposite is true. Too many words make a person predictable, transparent, and easy to sway. When your mouth moves faster than your mind, you hand over all your leverage. Machiavelli understood this deeper than most. Silence is not emptiness, it is restraint, and restraint creates presence. When you speak less, others reveal more. They start over-explaining, justifying, exposing their insecurities, and confessing their motives without you even asking. Simply by holding back, you learn more about them than they do about you. That imbalance is pure power. People become cautious when they don't know what you're thinking. They avoid provoking you. They second-guess their assumptions. They tread more carefully because uncertainty forces them to respect you. Using controlled silence means you do not rush to answer. When someone finishes speaking, you pause. You let their words hang in the air. That brief stillness hits harder than any long explanation ever could. It signals that you are not driven by emotion, you are calculating. People instinctively respect what feels calculated. When someone tries to challenge you, silence can do what arguments cannot. Instead of reacting immediately, you breathe, observe, and let your lack of response do the talking. The other person begins to feel uncomfortable. They soften their tone. They modify their statement. They retreat on their own, because your silence forces them to confront their own behavior. This is control without confrontation. Silence also protects your dignity. When you're angry or insulted, talking too quickly almost always leads to regret. But when you train yourself to go quiet, you keep your position. You show that no one can pull your emotions out of you like a reflex. The less you react, the deeper you seem. People sense that there are layers to you they cannot reach, and that mystery becomes respect. Machiavelli would say that those who expose less are manipulated less. The more people know about your emotions, your insecurities, and your limits, the easier you are to move. But when your silence hides those pressure points, no one quite knows where to push. That uncertainty becomes your shield. You don't stay silent to appear cold, you stay silent to remain in control. You don't speak to fill space, you speak to create impact. Every word feels intentional. That is the essence of quiet power. Rule 3. Establish a line people sense but never see. Respect doesn't come from being endlessly kind. It comes from having a boundary, one that is not spoken out loud, but unmistakably felt. Most people never build this boundary. They allow jokes that cut too deep. They tolerate comments that sting. They accept behavior that slowly chips away at their dignity. They smile through disrespect, pretend it doesn't hurt, and then wonder why no one treats them seriously. When there is no consequence for crossing you, people stop valuing you. And when there is no risk, there is no respect. Machiavelli understood that every powerful person carries an invisible edge around them. Others may laugh with them, speak casually, even tease lightly, but there is always a limit they do not dare to step over. Not because it is written or announced, but because your presence makes the boundary obvious. This rule is about creating that invisible threshold. You must decide what is unacceptable for you: disrespectful jokes, dismissive tones, passive-aggressive remarks, public humiliation, subtle mockery. Once you're clear internally, everything changes externally. You don't argue about it. You don't give long emotional speeches. You don't plead for better behavior. You respond with controlled withdrawal. When someone crosses the line, even slightly, your energy shifts. You become calm, quiet, and distant. Your face becomes still. Your words become short and deliberate. You stop rewarding their behavior with warmth or engagement. You pull your presence back immediately, not tomorrow, not later, in that moment. You don't punish with anger, you punish with absence. Machiavelli believed people learn from consequences, not explanations. If someone crosses you and still receives the same closeness, the same comfort, the same access, then your boundaries exist only in theory. But when their behavior instantly results in less connection, less openness, less trust, they feel the cost. And that cost forces them to adjust. Your boundary does not need volume. It needs consistency. You are not dramatic. You are not emotional. You are decisive. People begin to notice the pattern. They might joke harshly with others, but with you they hold back. They might speak carelessly with everyone else, but with you they choose their words. They understand that crossing your line shuts a door they cannot easily reopen. That quiet tension is exactly the environment where respect thrives. You are no longer trying to appear endlessly forgiving. You're establishing an atmosphere where casual disrespect cannot survive. Rule 4: share less of yourself, watch more of others. Most people make themselves vulnerable not because others force them, but because they reveal too much, too early, to too many. They talk openly about their fears, dreams, weaknesses, past wounds, mistakes, hopes, and insecurities, often to people who have not earned even a fraction of that access. It feels like bonding, but in reality, it gives others a blueprint. A blueprint showing where to flatter you, where to manipulate you, and where to hurt you. Machiavelli understood that information is the purest form of leverage. When people know what irritates you, what you crave, and what you can't let go of, they can push you like a button. They know exactly how to get a reaction. And once they can control your reactions, respect begins to fade. Why? Because you are no longer a mystery, you are an open map. This rule is about taking that power back. You don't need to become cold or emotionless. You simply become selective. You reveal small pieces, not entire chapters. You allow people to see fragments of your personality, not the whole inner world. You give surface-level information until someone has proven they can handle deeper truths with care. When people ask questions, you don't rush to empty your soul into their hands. You answer calmly, briefly, and thoughtfully. You give just enough to maintain ease in the conversation, but never so much that someone can weaponize your honesty. You leave gaps. You leave silence. You leave unanswered pieces. Instead of narrating your entire emotional landscape, you let your stability in the present speak louder than your past. Machiavelli believed that the wise listen far more than they speak, because what others reveal unintentionally is far more valuable than what you reveal voluntarily. When you share less, you observe more. While others talk endlessly, you study them quietly. You watch how they behave when angry, how they treat people beneath them, how they act when there's nothing to gain. You pick up patterns they don't know you see. You gain insight while they lose control of their image. That transforms you from someone who reacts into someone who anticipates. The less you expose, the harder you are to attack. Insults slide off because they're based on guesses, not truth. Manipulation fails because no one knows your real weak points. People may call you difficult to read, that is exactly the point. Things that are easy to read are easy to control. Things that are hard to read are approached with caution. This doesn't mean you never open up. It means you open up slowly, step by step, testing how people handle small pieces of trust before giving them more. If someone mocks your minor vulnerability, they never receive a deeper one. If someone respects the little you share, perhaps they can earn another layer. Access becomes earned, not automatic. Over time, people sense something about you. You notice more than you reveal. You listen more than you speak. You are present, but not exposed. That quiet depth becomes a form of respect. People cannot manipulate what they cannot understand. And they cannot break what they cannot reach. Rule 5. Stay composed when others expect you to fall apart. Nothing destroys respect faster than reacting exactly how others hope you will. Most people crack under pressure. When they are embarrassed, challenged, criticized, or rejected, they crumble instantly. Their voice rises, their breathing speeds up, they over-explain, defend themselves desperately, or emotionally collapse in front of everyone. In that moment, something irreversible happens. People realize how easy it is to shake them. Once others understand that your emotions can be controlled from the outside, they never see you as strong again. Machiavelli believed that mastery over others begins with mastery over oneself. A person who cannot govern their own reactions will always be governed by the situation, or worse, by whoever decides to pull their strings. When every insult, every slight, and every challenge pulls you into panic, you show that your emotional state is public property. That is the exact opposite of power. True respect flows toward the person whose inner world remains steady when the environment becomes chaotic. This rule is about becoming unbreakable on the outside, even when storms move on the inside. You might feel anger, humiliation, disappointment, or confusion, but you do not allow those feelings to shape your outward behavior. You slow your breathing. You steady your gaze. You let your thoughts settle before you speak. You don't rush. You don't flinch. You become the calm center while everything else spins. This calmness is not numbness. It is discipline. When someone tries to provoke you, they are secretly hoping for a reaction. They want you to get emotional so they can justify their disrespect or entertain the people around you. If you give them that reaction, they win easily. If you stay steady, they expose themselves. Your stillness reveals their intentions better than any argument could. Machiavelli compared strong leaders to fortified structures. They do not shift with every gust of wind. People judge you more in tense moments than in peaceful ones. They remember your composure under pressure more vividly than anything you say during calm times. When they see your posture, your tone, and your presence remain controlled even when the environment becomes hostile, something inside them shifts. They may not like you, but they cannot deny your strength. Staying calm does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means choosing your response rather than letting emotion choose it for you. You decide if the situation deserves your energy. You decide how much you speak. You decide whether the issue even matters. This difference between reacting and choosing separates the easily controlled from the quietly dominant. Over time, people approach you carefully. They test you less. They provoke you less. They instinctively understand that you are not emotionally fragile. You become associated with stability, and in tense environments, stability is power. Respect gathers around the one who remains grounded when others lose balance. Rule 6: Speak with purpose, not noise. Many people believe that talking more makes them influential. They raise their voice, dominate conversations, and fill every quiet moment with words, thinking it makes them appear confident or important. But constant talking has the opposite effect. It weakens your presence. When words are too frequent, they lose weight. People stop listening because nothing you say stands out. Influence is never in the volume. It is always in the precision. Machiavelli understood this long ago. The person who speaks with intention commands more respect than the one who speaks endlessly. Words are like currency. The more you spend unnecessarily, the less valuable each one becomes. This rule is about choosing your words as if each one matters. You do not speak to fill silence. You speak to shift the atmosphere. When you talk, your sentences are measured, deliberate, and tied to a purpose. People immediately sense the difference. They stop multitasking mentally. They listen with more attention. They respect the weight behind what you're saying because you don't waste your breath on trivial things. Scarcity creates value, even in speech. Those who ramble or over-explain give people permission to ignore them, interrupt them, or dismiss their points. But the one who speaks less yet says more becomes someone whose voice carries authority. Machiavelli would argue that uncertainty strengthens influence. When people never quite know what you're about to say, but they know it will matter, they automatically lean in. Speaking with intention allows you to control perception without forcing anything. People don't just hear your words, they feel the thought behind them. Even disagreements become respectful because others understand you didn't form your opinion impulsively. To practice this, ask yourself before speaking. Does this need to be said? Does it add meaning? Does it strengthen my presence? If the answer is no, silence does the job better. Silence makes people guess what you're thinking. Silence makes people cautious. Silence makes people attentive. Let others fill the space with their own uncertainty. You stay centered, steady, intentional. Over time, people treat your voice differently. They pause before interrupting. They think before disagreeing. They consider your words more seriously because they recognize the pattern. When you speak, it matters. This is quiet dominance, authority without force, respect without volume. Your presence becomes felt not because you speak often, but because you speak wisely. Rule 7: Make decisions slowly, execute without hesitation. Most people damage their authority because they act too fast. They jump into choices the moment pressure appears, revealing uncertainty and emotional impulse. When your decisions seem rushed, others assume your judgment is shaky, and once people sense instability, influence fades. Machiavelli understood something timeless: power grows from patience and precision. The person who appears thoughtful, calm, and analytical before acting, and then moves with sharp, decisive action, naturally commands respect. This rule is about adopting that rhythm. When a situation arises, you do not immediately reveal what you think or feel. You watch. You gather information. You quietly measure the intentions, reactions, and hidden dynamics around you. That pause is not indecision, it is strategy. People notice your composure. They begin to wonder what calculations you are making, and that uncertainty alone shifts the power toward you. But once your mind is made up, your movement must be swift and clean. No hesitating. No second guessing. No long explanations. The contrast between your deliberate thinking and your decisive action creates a psychological impact. It shows that you are not reactive, you are intentional. Machiavelli believed that the person who masters timing influences situations long before others understand what is happening. Your slow decisions allow you to observe loyalty, detect motives, and expose hidden agendas. Your fast execution proves you are not paralyzed by overthinking. People start to respect you for two reasons. They cannot predict you. They cannot catch you unprepared. Those who rush decisions signal weakness. Those who hesitate after deciding signal fear. But the one who waits with purpose, and then strikes with clarity, feels like someone operating at a different level. This rule makes others approach you carefully, speak to you with thought, and consider the consequences of crossing you. Your timing itself becomes influence. Rule 8. Let actions speak louder than anything you say. Most people rely on words to prove their worth. They talk about their goals, promise big outcomes, explain their intentions, and try to convince others to believe in them. But words are cheap. Anyone can speak confidently. Anyone can make claims. Very few can back them with consistent behavior. Machiavelli understood that real respect is not built through noise, it is built through evidence. This rule is about turning your daily actions into undeniable signals of discipline, competence, and strength. You stop trying to persuade. You stop trying to justify. You stop trying to announce what you will do. Instead, you simply do it. Your routines, your boundaries, your results, and your consistency start communicating for you. When people see that you follow through without bragging, that you maintain your standards without explanation, that you stay committed without applause, they naturally take you more seriously. Action cannot be twisted, misquoted, or argued with. It is solid. It is visible. It is proof. Those who rely on talk become forgettable. Those whose actions align with their principles become influential without trying. When you maintain your standards silently, people adjust their behavior around you. When you complete what you commit to, they stop questioning your ability. When your boundaries hold every time, they stop testing them. Your reputation begins to form from what you consistently demonstrate, not what you verbally claim. Machiavelli knew that most people judge based on what stands in front of them, not promises, not explanations. Someone who talks big but produces little becomes a joke. Someone who produces consistently without boasting becomes a reference point for strength. This rule also protects you from manipulation. When your character is revealed through your actions, not your words, others cannot twist your meaning or misinterpret your intentions. Your behavior becomes your shield. The key is simple. Do more. Say less. Show results. Withhold announcements. Move quietly. Achieve loudly. Respect grows automatically around someone whose actions speak with a clarity that words can never match. Rule 9. Make your presence felt without trying. The strongest people don't need to perform, impress, or announce their importance. They don't demand the spotlight. Yet when they enter a room, something shifts, conversations slow, energy changes, and attention moves toward them without effort. This effect is not luck. It's a practiced form of silent power. Machiavelli understood that influence is not just built through action, it's built through the aura you carry. True authority is sensed long before it is spoken, and the person who can project strength without saying a word holds an advantage over everyone who needs to shout to be acknowledged. This rule is about cultivating that gravity. You stop rushing. You stop fidgeting. You stop shrinking or overextending. You occupy your space fully, calmly, and confidently. Your posture is deliberate. Your movements are controlled. Your attention is focused, not scattered. You don't try to impress anyone, because needing approval kills presence. You don't chase validation, because the one who chases lowers their value. You don't react emotionally to every situation, because reactivity exposes weakness. Instead, your energy stays grounded. You move with intention. You observe with awareness. People feel that your confidence comes from within, not from external approval, and that kind of stability makes others adjust themselves around you. The room begins to respond to you without you doing anything. People speak more carefully. They watch your reactions. They value your words because you don't waste them. They hesitate before testing you, because something about your presence signals consequences. Machiavelli believed that control is often established before a single sentence is spoken, and the one who carries quiet authority shapes the outcome without ever raising their voice. This presence is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not forced. It is simply the result of a person who knows their own worth, stays centered in their own energy, and refuses to bend for attention. When you cultivate this silent magnetism, people begin to treat you differently, more cautiously, more respectfully, and with an instinctive awareness that you are not someone to be taken lightly. Your existence becomes influence. Your stillness becomes power. Your presence becomes a statement all on its own. You've now learned 9 strategies that allow you to earn respect without raising your voice, without forcing attention, and without chasing anyone. These principles work together, forming a mindset that turns you into someone people instinctively treat differently, someone they hesitate to disrespect, someone they think twice before crossing. Most people today lose respect because they give away their power without realizing it. They react instead of observing. They speak before thinking. They try to be agreeable instead of being grounded. They tolerate behavior they shouldn't. And then they wonder why no one takes them seriously. But you now understand the opposite approach. By controlling your availability, your emotions, your boundaries, your words, and your presence, you create an energy that people cannot ignore. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you radiate when your behavior consistently shows discipline, intention, and inner strength. Machiavelli knew centuries ago that authority is subtle. It's not the loud one who holds power, it's the one who moves with purpose, who thinks before acting, and whose silence carries weight. The person others can't predict, can't manipulate, and can't take for granted naturally commands the environment around them. These strategies are not about intimidation for its own sake. They are about building a life where others treat you as someone whose time, energy, and presence have value. Someone whose boundaries matter. Someone whose actions align with their standards. Someone who carries a force that is quietly undeniable. If you want respect that lasts, you must practice these principles until they become instinct. Observe more. Speak less. Move with intention. Hold your line. Let your actions be the proof. When you master this approach, you won't need to demand respect. People will give it to you without you asking. If you're ready to live with calm authority and unshakable self-respect, carry these principles into your daily life and sharpen them until they become who you are. And write this in comments. I move quietly, but I am never overlooked.